Peter was a young man who had just moved into a one-bedroom apartment. The low-ceilinged empty place consisted of a connecting living room, bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom. It sat on the second floor of a two-story complex. Lonely, new to the city by grace of his somewhat well-paid office job, and without the confidence to make new friends, Peter would sit alone on nights and days off, doing nothing more than watching Netflix and playing on his computer. He had even laughed over the fact that they gave him 2 keys, as if he would ever have the luxury of a roommate or girlfriend to keep him company. One night, while he was coming home, a little black cat with a white belly followed him up the stairs. Despite his attempts to shoo it away, the cat would not be deterred from following him, even looking up at him expectantly and meowing the moment he got to his door, as if stating it wanted in. The loneliness in him pinged, and his heart instantly warmed to the feline. The cat immediately came in and nestled into a spot to sleep. Peter let him be, and he mustered what he could to ask his neighbor about the cat. Perhaps it belonged to said neighbor, though he hoped inwardly that the cat would be a stray and he could adopt it. The cat, as he found out from the neighbor, was in fact the previous tenant's pet. The tenant had been a healthy and solitary man, save for the cat. However, after losing his job some time ago, he became reclusive, and each time the neighbor caught sight of him, he was thinner and thinner, until by the last time she had seen him, he was nothing more than skin and bones. The cat, whose name was Oscar, she noted, was always fat and happy regardless of his owner's slow withering away. After some time and unpaid rent went by, the concerned landlord found the man dead in the apartment. Oscar had ran off the day they found him, and hadn't been around since. This grisly find had happened several months ago. Peter, though a bit shaken at the morose thought that someone had passed away in his new home, made up his mind that this cat, Oscar, would be his friend and would live with him. The cat had lost one companion. He would feel guilty to kick him out. Besides, the cat owned the place before he did, technically, and so that night he went out to purchase a variety of items for his new friend's care, a care which the cat definitely appreciated and reciprocated in its own way. Peter nestled into his apartment and metaphorically wriggled into a domestic rut of working, coming home, sleeping, working. A rut he was happy with. A rut he was content to ride along with Oscar. A rut that was only disrupted by Oscar's great desire to always go out. But Peter had decided for the cat's own good that it was now an inside cat. As time went by, Peter noticed a distinct routine to Oscar's meowing to go out. He would always cry to be let outside at around 3 to 4 a.m., standing by the door, crying and occasionally even attempting to jump up at the handle as if to open it. Something that, while adorable, was quite annoying to persistently be awoken to. A cat meowing away in the middle of the night, and the jingling of the handle. Then one night, Peter awoke to the cat's nocturnal meowing, and was a part of the routine. He got up to usher the cat away from the door. He even heard the door handle jiggling, and he laughed at the cat for jumping at it. Except the cat wasn't. He saw the cat sitting, looking up at the door expectantly, like he had the day he had met him on the other side of it. The door handle was making noise without the cat's intervention. Someone was holding the handle and attempting to get in from the other side. Peter picked up Oscar and pulled him away from the door as the jingling continued. Putting the cat into the bedroom, he went back to the door, his cell phone in hand. The handle stopped moving. Peter looked through the keyhole. As his vision cleared through the tiny opening, he thought he caught the side profile of someone making their way down the stairs that led up to his place. Quickly, he ran to his patio screen door that overlooked the entrance up to his apartment, and saw no one. He figured he must have been dreaming. Another day went by, and soon he was fast asleep, having put the night's events into the past. This time he woke up again to the cat's crying. Peter got out of bed, listening carefully and ensuring he was wide awake. The cat was indeed crying, but instead of the sound of the door jingling, there was a new sound. The sound of something wiping against glass. Peter got out of bed and found Oscar not at the door, but at the sliding glass door that exited to the patio. The cat had its paws pressed against the glass, streaking down as if scratching at it. Peter knelt down and again shooed him away. But, much to Peter's horror, he found, imprinted upon the condensation of the glass, a long streak in the shape of a handprint, still fresh, on the outside of the door. Peter did not sleep the rest of that night. The next day, he went to work, and when he returned, he found his front door unlocked. He chided himself for forgetting to lock it, but still feeling quite paranoid over the previous night's events, he decided to be a bit more cautious and check every corner he could think of in his apartment. Nothing appeared to have been disrupted. Despite there being no sign of intrusion, he still lodged a complaint with his landlord and found little to no help save for the non-committal, "We'll keep an eye out." That night, he felt uneasy. All night while he played video games and watched TV, Oscar would meow and meow at the door, and from time to time he felt the uncomfortable feeling of something watching him, as if something or someone was staring at him behind the glass. His paranoia would force him to stand up and check the spy hole through the door or check the window, and would see nothing. Finally, unable to keep his eyes open, Peter felt himself drifting off to sleep and was soon dozing away in his bed. At 3 a.m., he awoke to a new sound this time. Purring. The vibrating purr of Oscar sitting on top of his chest. He smiled and was about to pet him lazily as he felt the cat shift his weight, as if attempting to get comfortable, though oddly, the cat's weight was shifting up and down. Peter opened his eyes. There Oscar was, content as could be, sitting upright on his chest. His head careened upward in a loving and happy motion as he was being pet. But it was not Peter's hand that was petting Oscar. A thin man's hand caressed the cat's head. Peter froze, paralyzed in fear as he felt something sit next to him. His eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness and saw there, sitting beside him, the side profile of a very thin, almost skeletal visage of a young man, petting Oscar. Peter attempted to speak, but no words came out of his mouth. He dared not move. He didn't want to move. He hoped that the young, thin man would think he was asleep. But he knew he had not fooled this man.
I took care of him as long as I could. I was so worried for him. Thank you.
An emotion that froze Peter's blood. The face turned slowly towards him, coming into full view. Peter then knew that the neighbor had left out a significant piece of information. He tried to scream, but failed to make anything come from his mouth. Instead, he just stared, and slowly, Peter nodded to the young man. This skeletal remnant of a man stood up, petting Oscar one more time, and giving one last look down at Peter. He said,
"Take good care of my Oscar."
And with those parting words, he walked towards the door. Oscar followed him and sat in front of it. The door opened, and the man left, closing it and leaving Oscar behind him. Oscar gave one last sorrowful cry before returning to the bed and laying down next to Peter, purring weakly. Peter reached out and pet and soothed the cat. The young man had indeed taken care of Oscar, even after death, for despite being unable to afford to feed his cat from a can or bag after he had lost his job, he still kept Oscar well fed. A testament to friendship and loyalty well beyond death, as symbolized by a well-fed cat, tiny bites, and the skeletally thin remnants of a young man's half-eaten face.